Here we go again. Here we go. So the rumor is I've been blacklisted. Now, ask yourself the simple question. If somebody is selling porky pies and everything they're talking about is wrong, why would they get blacklisted? Does that even make sense? What would be the purpose? If anything, that just validates the situation even more. I use this example all the time, but when I asked my grandmother about Operation Paperclip, if she would have said, "Oh yeah, I've heard of that, and we have nothing to do with it. It's one of those weird things, but no, we have nothing to do with it," I'd have been like, "Oh, okay then, thank you for answering that simple question." And that would have been it. But my grandmother first pretended like she had never heard of Operation Paperclip. Then, apparently, got super sick. Called all the family, told them I was, how bad I was, how sick. She got physically ill from it. And I was basically kicked out of the family. Now, when that's the case, like that's the response I get, how do I think anything other than clearly clearly they're lying? I mean, I don't know what else what else would you think? And people just, and that's how it is just across the board. If there are random profiles coming onto a live feed to tell you other random people that are watching not to watch, why? Who would do that? Of all the things that are out there, let's just say they are the decency police or whatever it may be. Aren't there a lot of other people talking about a lot of other things that are true that shouldn't be talked about? Like, it's all so obvious to me, and I it's one of those things where I really don't understand, like, what holds you back? What stops you from seeing it? What encourages you to be who you're supposed to be and just follow along and just do as you're told? Why would you? What about the narrative you're given makes you have faith in it? And that goes for faith itself. God, Jesus, all that bullshit. Why? What's your reasoning? And that shouldn't be a negative. That shouldn't be a difficult question. Asking somebody why they believe anything. You believe in this, you believe in that, you vote this way, you vote that, whatever it may be. If you're on the side of good and righteousness and all that shit, what do you care? Shouldn't you be like happy somebody asked you, so then you have the opportunity to express it? I mean, if it's the truth, like, isn't it truth something that you like, you can't help but express? If it's it takes effort to push the lie, but the truth, it's truth. It just comes out. It's what it is. And so instead of Adat Shalom, fucking disgusting pigs, instead of having reasonable conversations, having intelligent discourse, like, this is what I get. The dumb Keith profiles. Who does this? Like, I'll never understand how anybody, like, feels good because easy and I go live and I do talking for a couple hours, but you, not only do you watch me, you hang on every word I say, and you can't seem to debunk anything I'm saying. You just say stupid shit and prove my point. Like, I don't know, I find this whole thing just so strange. It's so hard to like, to try to understand. It's not that it just exists. I want to understand things. It's not just, the gas station provides fuel. Well, how does the gas get there? How do we get that crude in the first place? Where does that come from? Who owns that? Like, I want to ask those questions. And instead of being smart enough to ask the questions yourself or answer them, it's like it pushes a button in you and it makes, I'm stupid. Like, it's really weird. But this is the thing. I always put this out to you guys. Like, make it make sense. That's all it ever comes down to. Make it make sense. If I'm supposed to believe it, it should make some sense. It shouldn't be something that's just like, what? I don't know. Even a submarines thing. It shouldn't be something that, like, submarines, I should be able to prove to myself. Easily. It's 2024. I should be able to go on YouTube and click submarines underwater and see all this different footage that I go, oh, yeah, okay, that looks believable. That makes sense. I can see that. And instead of having that experience, what ends up, oh, I haven't had one of those in a while at this spot. Usually used to do this at this spot. And you just, same thing with space. It's 2024, man. There should be no question on what we live on. There should be no debate. There should be no one that thinks otherwise. It should be very, very obvious that we live on this ball flying through space. There's nowhere on the planet where you can see further than you should be able to see. There's no place on the planet. Like, if you go far enough, you should be able to see curvature and all that. Like, it just, but see, I think because we don't, like, we're not encouraged to embrace it, we don't actually think about how, like, really stupid it is. It's unbelievably stupid, the narrative that we're given. The whole space and all that other shit is just fucking strange. God damn, people are stupid. It's strange to me. Like, again, I cannot imagine coming on this feed and being like, look at how stupid I am. Look, I'm in love with you, but I can't answer your questions. Like, because clearly there's some weird ass attraction going on here. These fucking weirdos are insanely attracted to me. And again, it's like you have an open forum. You could say anything you want. You could be good at this. And instead of being good at this, it's always just terrible, terrible bullshit. And I can't, I don't get it. I mean, well, I say that. I do. Like, I can make it make sense. It's either really, really insecure weirdos, which I tend to not think that's the majority. I tend to think the majority is the bots. Because, I mean, that makes sense. Like, if you're going to be here and you just run your mouth. Like, it just seems like, why would anybody do it? Don't you guys have jobs? Don't you have other things going on in your life? But that's just not how things work. I mean, it's the strangest shit. It's interesting too. I had started another sort of in-depth, what do you think about the drones? I think the drones are for stupid people. I think if you're not...
They're talking about the East Coast drones that are fucking people freaking out.
Right. But see, this is where it's just crazy to me.
It's all over the news.
Of course it is. Yet aliens aren't real, and that's not something we're supposed to really look into. But it's all over the news. Why do you think that is? Why do you think like this? This is one of the best things they do is telling us, this isn't real. The government doesn't confirm or deny this. This isn't real, but here, look at it. 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 And what do I think of them? What do I think of UFO? Like, I do think there are UFOs. Well, I think there are UFOs, but I don't think of them as aliens from other planets and shit. I think that the people, the beings on the outside of the dome, come inside and have meetings with those at the top and stuff. I think that's something that we see. But more than anything, 95% of the stuff that we see, that we end up chalking up to UFOs, is government shit. How else? Like, what a great way to hide your stuff out in the open by just by doing that. So I should brush my teeth, right? Because my teeth are so yucky. They're not all white. Nah. Think about how desperate somebody has to be to go that route. I mean, it's stupid, but that's what I'm saying. Like, oh look, we passed 64 viewers. I thought that wasn't supposed to happen anymore. Duh. We got blacklisted. Good luck getting anything higher than 60 live viewers. Duh. Oops, forgot about that, huh? If you're watching, like, share, sub, because I told you to. That's why. But think about how brilliant the whole aliens cover up was. They were able to tell you that anything you see in the sky, that's not us. We don't have that technology. No. Well, we couldn't use that technology to make things better for people. No. I mean, there are like two major kinds of UFOs, right? There are the UFOs that are like the round saucers. And then the other kind, well, recently we've gotten the triangle ones, but the other ones are airships. And if you think, like, we had the airship technology in the 1800s, do you not think that they've been secretly working on that shit and they've made it really, really good by 2024? Something that they've been working on for like 200 years? I don't know anybody or like anybody, sorry. But like, just, I mean, the Jays that control the system. What's the biggest movies ever, right? Star Wars, Avatar, all these movies that convince you. No. All these movies that convince you that space is real, that you can fly a ship in a vacuum. Like they don't even realize that their narrative destroys their narrative. How do you have propulsion in a gravityless vacuum? Propulsion has to push against something and able to for it to be able to move. Wow, this shit is very coffee. But the whole thing with the drones, everybody, can you imagine if as many people were focused on the genocide taking place right fucking now as they were these drones? Can you imagine if the news was giving as many people concerned with the genocide the platform to speak as they do the UFOs, the drones?
Yeah, but The genocide isn't shutting airports down and delaying people's flights.
Right. The genocide isn't affecting your white ass, so why would you care?
Exactly.
Even though it is. That's the thing. Like that's the point. Like you actually are being affected as much as you are this selfish piece of shit who doesn't care because you don't think it's affecting you. Billions and billions of tax dollars is being given to Israel. Right? So aren't those your tax dollars? Don't you think that the 18 billion plus dollars that's been given to Israel since October of last year would be better used here? How do magnets work? That's a good question. I know we're told some shit, but what I want to know, I've always, how do they get images to stick to VHS tapes? How do they get images and sound to stick to VHS tapes? Or cassette tapes or whatever. I mean, it's all just, it's amazing. And we're supposed to think that just some random people sort of stumbled into it. You know, in the late 1800s, early 1900s, apparently people were just full of invention. You know, full of making the world a much better place for everyone. And those kinds of inventions and things were just bought up, just like now. I mean, seriously, let's just say I became president, right? The very first thing I would do would be cut off Israel and remove all of the J's in the government. They would be immediately removed because I would look at it honestly. And let's look at it from an honest perspective. Anybody that walks around thinking that their people are born chosen by God and the rest of us are, you know, tables, chairs, cats, dogs, people, whatever, we're all just there to be used, they got to go. They got to go. So, first of all, we get rid of that. Secondly, we institute the Solar Road program. So now you create just insane amounts of jobs. The people that have to build the factory to build the Solar Road pieces. The construction companies that then have to go through and tear up all the old roads to put the new roads in. This is all creating fantastic jobs, creating a sustainable employment, you know, all these things. The next thing I'm going to do is unlock the secrets to the water cars. Because multiple people throughout history have invented cars that run on water. And either they suddenly die of heart attacks or the government buys that technology up, it completely disappears, and then they die of heart attacks. But right there, why wouldn't you vote for me? If I'm talking about instituting programs that will immediately create jobs, will eventually lead to basically free energy for everyone. I'm gonna make the automotive industry. I'm gonna just completely redo the automotive industry. Like just those three things alone, you know, who's not gonna vote for that?
The oil tycoons, they're not gonna like you at all.
Right. Well, there's not a lot of those.
A lot of power and money.
Right, but there's not a lot of those. You know, at the top of the heap, yeah. But if you can show everyone else how, you know, look, we're all going to live much better lives because of this. You want that tycoon status? Imagine how much more money you would have each week if you didn't have to buy gas, if you didn't have to pay for the energy. Just that alone. You know, and then there are just countless technologies out there that the government has squashed, has hidden. They're not gone. Fuck, if anything, they use them, you know, They use them in real life, like that's used throughout the military and all. They probably have access to all that shit. They just don't let us. I still want to know where jet fuel goes. How do airplanes hold thousands and thousands of gallons of jet fuel? Where? In the wings? Doesn't make any sense. Stop funding Israel. It has nothing to do with corporations charging me more money every day for items. Right. A lot of that has to do with your buddy Trump and the bullshit that he implemented. But you don't want to talk about that.
Jobs.
You think, I love these people. Like, I seriously, how long does Trump get in office without the gas and food prices being cut in half before stupid people start going, hey, I think we might have been tricked?
That's a promise that is going to be forgotten.
Look at how Seamus is asking questions that stupid people can't answer. So instead of encouraging you to ask those questions or explaining to you or telling you where to look, they just say stupid things. That's what you're going to get over and over again. Now, it's up to you whether you think it's real people, whether you think it's really your brothers and sisters that treat you like this, or it's part of the Team Jorge bot program, or one of those, something like Team Jorge. I mean, there's literally tons of them. And it's another one of these things where, like Team Jorge, if you ever notice in my comments, these clowns never even touch it. They never even touch Team Jorge. They don't bring it up. They don't deny it. They don't explain it. They don't nothing. They start talking about other stupid shit. Even more stupid shit. Everybody watching me, why don't you think Team Jorge is a big deal? You know you are insane, right? Yep. That's what it is. Fuck Jerry Seinfeld. Fuck Michael Rappaport, John Lovitz. I mean, these guys flat out tell you, if you oppose the genocide, then you oppose Jayism. They're the ones that connect the two. Genocide and Jayism go together. So it's up to you whether you're going to listen to what they say and realize, like it's just crazy. Like, it's crazy to think that we've been brainwashed into thinking it's okay that people are Jays. It's not okay. It's not okay. In any other form of life, we don't accept it. We don't accept anybody walking around acting superior, claiming they're superior by birth, allowed to do the worst, most horrible things, cut and suck on baby penises, make their women fucking bathe in nasty ass water every time they menstruate. Like, these are horrible, disgusting people. And you've been brainwashed into thinking that you're not allowed to say so. But you have to think, like, if they're not horrible, disgusting people, then why do they say, you can't say that? Why don't they tell me what I'm wrong about? Why don't they explain to me how a mikvah is beautiful and how, I'm mistaken about all this shit? Apparently Nick said that the other day in school. They jumped all over him.
What?
He was mistaken about something. Think about it, man. Think about this shit. Again, like, I'd love to hear. Been watching too much Ari Shaffir. Ari Shaffir's a racist piece of shit. He's a horrible, horrible piece of shit. He doesn't talk bad about any. Like, he's one of those Don Rickles kind of characters, right? Where they make their whole fucking cake is made off of racism and stupid shit. And they say horrible things about all kinds of different people. And because they claim that they also make jokes about Jewish people, then that sort of makes it okay. But they don't. Like Ari Shafir's racist, his jokes about Jewish people are about how rich and powerful they are. He doesn't talk about how stupid they are. He doesn't talk about how disgusting they are. Because then he'd be talking about his mom and his dad and his brothers and all that shit. He claims to be atheist, but if you're an atheist, then you think Judaism is just as fucking stupid as the rest of them. And that's never how that works. Ari Shafir is horrible. He's not funny. He's not even funny. He make a lot of very good points, but then fucks it up with dumb shit. Make fun of him, and make fun of no one takes seriously. And I don't even know what the fuck you're talking about. It's interesting how somebody in the comments brings up magnetism, and everybody's jumping all over that. Yet, let's talk about the genocide that's happening right now. Let's talk about Team Jorge. Let's talk about the Samson option. Let's talk about the mikvahs and all the disgusting shit. Let's talk about the circumcision. Let's talk about all this shit. This J control that absolutely has a firm grasp on us. And you guys got nothing to say. You have nothing to say. You know, these Jays and their pedo shit. These guys, you know, if you have a child and you would let your child go, I don't know, stay at Usher's or stay at Puffy's house for a couple of weeks when he's 14. You know, if you have a child that you would let go to Hollywood, I'd love to know who you are. Because every parent I've ever talked to, everybody knows about the Hollywood casting couch. Even I was watching this thing. It was this this documentary about Jesse Camp, right? And how, you know, actually he was a fake, like his whole thing was fake, and it was just another manufactured narrative given to us. But there's one little piece in the thing where this little black chick, short hair, she's and it might have been like this the next round where they did the, you know, it might not have been the first one to be a VJ thing, but it might have been the second or the third. But Carson Daly, because the one girl goes, you know, I'd be willing to do anything to get there, blah 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 blah. And Carson goes, well, what about some casting couch stuff? Would you be willing to do that? And she goes, oh hell no. So this is early 2000s. This is before we all had internets and you know, all these. You could educate yourself very easily on the topic. This is just back when it was rumors, and it was a joke made. Like they made jokes about it. The casting couch. Well, when you step back and you go, okay, who are the casting agents? Who are the people behind the scenes that generally make these decisions? Well, sure is a lot of J's. Sure is a lot of J's. I mean, again, I'm talking about the Samson option. I'm talking about Team Jorge. I'm talking about the genocide. I'm talking about real life shit, and multiple people, fake profile, just keep coming in and saying the same dumb things. Does that sound like it's bots? Or does it sound real people? There are real people who just literally just they all say the same thing, same cadence, same word structure, same spelling mistakes, all that. And none of them seem to oppose the pedo stuff. None of them seem to oppose the genocide. None of them seem to oppose the J control. They just keep talking about other things. Who is that? Who's going to do that? I'm Professor Magnets. I know everything about magnets there is to know. And somebody mentioned magnets, so I'm going to keep talking about that. Hey, what do you think about the pedo stuff? Yeah, I want to talk about magnets. Yeah, but don't you hate the pedos? I just want to talk about magnets. And I don't like you. Your face isn't shaved enough. Your hair isn't combed enough. Your ceiling is dirty. Blah 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 blah. Yeah, but what about Team Jorge? What about the genocide? What about the child molestation and all that stuff? What about that stuff? Do you want to talk about? No, I want to talk about you. I like you. Yeah, let's talk about the big picture. No, I want to talk about you. Some weird shit going on here. And it's all typical J shit, right? It's all just this is what they do. They know that their shit's bullshit. They know that they're you know they're just disgusting, horrible people. They know there's nothing they can say that's gonna disprove that. So what do they try to do? They try to shoot the messenger. It's always shoot the messenger. Your Seinfelds and your Rappaports and all that. They don't deny what's being done, what's happening. What the Jays always do is they simply tell you you're not allowed to talk about it. That's that. You're not allowed to talk about it. Who cares if you have questions? Who cares if you think differently? You're not allowed to talk about it. Shh, don't say that. Don't say that. That's anti-Semitism. That's anti-Semitism. Anti-Semitism. What they mean is that's anti-J, right? They're trying to say you're anti-J. So why is there a completely different word? What does Semitism? What is anti-Semitism? Anti is opposing, anti against. So what is Semitism? Well, Semitism is number one, having Semitic character or language. Number two is a Semitic feature of a language occurring in a different language. So in English, when we say things like, that guy has a lot of chutzpah, that's Semitism. But number two is a policy or predisposition favorable to the Jays. So, essentially, anti-Semitism is anti-showing the Jays favor, anti-Jay supremacy. Look at how stupid people are answering the wrong question. See what I mean? This is exactly what I'm talking about. Stupid people. This guy's sitting here arguing what Semitic means. Like he didn't hear me say a completely different word. Different word. But because they're stupid and they hope you're stupid, they try to slip those things by. But here, we'll even show you. So we have our Google Semitism definition. We go straight to the Merriam-Webster definition of Semitism. Semitic character or qualities, 1A, 1B, characteristic feature of a Semitic language occurring in another language, 1B. Number 2, policy or predisposition favorable to Jays. So you can't even deny it. You can't even pretend like I'm making this up or something like that. And it's crazy because if I'm wrong, why don't people focus on what I'm saying that's wrong? Why do they get really upset and try to hurt my feelings? I'm going to say things to hurt your feelings. Is what I'm saying hurting your feelings? Is that why you're responding like such a, chosen coward? It's this kind of shit that makes it so difficult. Semitism is not the same thing as Semitic. No shit. That's why they're different words. Define favorable. Don't need to define favorable. That it's supremacy. That's a nice way of saying supremacy. A policy or predisposition that is all about Jay's supremacy. That's why you're not allowed to talk about them. I could talk about the Jesuits all day. I could talk about Christians, Muslims, round earth, globe earth, flat earth, Hollywood pedos, government, Franklin cover up. I could talk about all that shit. The only things we don't seem to be allowed to talk about are the J's and vaccines. Which, you'd think, again, if you're on the good side of things, then you want people to look into it. You want us talking about it. They're good and healthy for us, right? So we should be talking about them left and right. But think about it, man. Think about it. Now, look, somebody's going to actually... My number 3 just says J when I text Merriam-Webster. Well, sure it does. I literally just did it. See, there's always going to be people that try to pull some kind of shit, but that's why I do things the way I do them. He's correct about that, but not about the root of the word. Yeah, I'm not correct about the root of... You guys, see... The funny thing is, none of you have looked into this shit. None of you know what the fuck you're talking about. I've been spending the last, I don't know how many years of my life educating myself on this particular thing. While everybody else is distracted by Trump and Harris and all that bullshit, while everybody else is distracted by vaccines and all the pedo stuff and all that stuff, I've been focusing on the head of the monster, the root, if you will. How do we cut off the head of the monster? Seems like every single conspiracy you start to delve into, if you get far enough into it, you're going to it's all going to be J's. That's all it's going to be. J bullshit. Freemasonry comes out of J bullshit. Christianity is out of Second Temple J bullshit. If you don't understand, these concepts, it's like, why are you here? Go to a lower level feed where they're talking about chemtrails and shit like that. Yes, look at the man. Does it look like he made it? Yep. Look at me. Yep. Because if I had short blonde hair and blue eyes, or if I had long, weird fucking white hair and my skin was orange, then I'd make sense. See, you have to notice that how are they the problem? Because they are the ones pulling all of the strings. Again, notice this guy's not trying to debunk what I'm saying. He's trying to shoot the messenger. He's trying to make it so anybody looking goes, yeah, this guy's crazy. This guy what he's saying, he's crazy. How is that education traveling into your income and living conditions? Yep, that's what it is. Let's keep talking about anything but what I'm talking about. Right, you dumb Jay? Right, you dumb Jays? I really want to have a call with Mr. Williams, right? Because in a live situation, you'd be able to do this better. You'd be able to come up with shit better than you can when you're just sitting here. Duh. Gotcha. I'm just wanting to understand before making any irrational assumptions. Why would it be irrational? Again, do you not think that everything is controlled? Do you think this world is just this proverbial chicken running around with its head cut off, just accidentally making all these different things happen and just accidentally over and over again? Is that what you think? Do you really not think everything is absolutely, totally controlled? Are you happy with your life? No, there's a genocide happening in my life. And I'm trying to have an adult conversation with other adults, and I get these dumbass comments that come in. Bro, you were out driving earlier. I was hoping you were headed to work. Oh, like you, right? Because obviously you're at work. Anybody that's commenting about me working, what are you doing? Aren't you on YouTube right now? I mean, again, every comment that doesn't sort of address what's being talked about, or denouncing these pedos or anything like that, you're saying what you need to say. You know, just because you don't say something doesn't mean you're not saying something. If you don't stand for something, you stand for nothing. But that's not true either. You do stand for something. You know, if you're not willing to engage in a conversation, you don't care. That's all it comes down to. You just don't care. It doesn't matter how many times a conversation's been had. If you're not willing to, you don't care about the thing anymore. So if you don't care about the genocide, of course you don't want to talk about it. Or if you're on the side of the genocide, right? He definitely didn't vote for Harris. You bro. Like this is the stupidity. Stupid people think because they're dumb enough to fall for Trump that I must have fallen for the other side. I mean, it's so weird how I'm giving you guys, I'm throwing you guys the layups here. I'm talking bad about the Jays. How come you guys aren't just sticking with that? Why do you have to make up your own bullshit? Aren't you smart enough to come up with stuff along the subject matter that we're talking about? Again, how come none of you are upset about Team Jorge? How come none of you are upset about the Samson option? How come none of you are upset about genocide happening right now? You're mad at good old Guy Williams because he's talking about stuff. I could be saying stuff about those things. I could be doing something with my own time. But what I'm going to do is go on the feed of somebody actually trying to talk about it and don't you talk about that. It's fucking crazy. It's crazy. So I've been going through some shit. I've been talking about things and there are all these different things that I've been wanting to get into and really talk about. And I guess we should go back to the Ghislaine Maxwell Epstein thing. It was just so hard to do it. Because if you start with Robert Maxwell, which isn't his real name, which means so what is Ghislaine's real name then? If her father is, one of many people, what is her real name? But it's like when you understand that Ghislaine Maxwell's dad.
Where is she? What happened to her?
She's in prison, supposedly.
For what?
For her role in... So, I don't know how you get busted. You get in prison for facilitating human trafficking and whatnot.
Okay, so that's what...
But then none of the people that you supposedly provided these humans to get in trouble. Like, how does that even work? And why isn't Ghislaine just spilling her guts?
This one got 3 boys.
Right.
This one got 2 girls.
Why isn't she doing that? I mean, but really, when you understand that Ghislaine Maxwell is directly associated with the creation of Miserable. Her father smuggled jet fighter plane parts and all that. Her father was a huge smuggler of supplies into Miserable, but especially their Air Force. If he hadn't have smuggled the parts in that he did, they wouldn't have had an Air Force. They wouldn't have had air superiority, which is, it's their sort of calling card, right? What better way to pick a fight and cause as much damage as possible than being in a right, being in a plane flying by at subsonic speeds, dropping bombs, that nobody even knows what's happening. That's such a typical cowardly J way to do things. But understand that, like, without the Maxwell family, Miserable wouldn't exist. There wouldn't be genocide happening right now without Ghislaine Maxwell's dad. So when you think about the whole Epstein thing, you have to understand that Epstein was the he was sort of the patsy, right? The Ghislaine was the handler. Ghislaine was the real power in that situation. And so when you start looking into Epstein and you try to do an expose on Epstein, you have to start with Maxwell. You have to go to the earliest you can go. Now, are you going to be able to look up Epstein's parents or family or anything like that? No. No. He's an only child, his parents were only children. There's literally no connection anywhere that anybody can go look in and find out and verify or anything like that. Just like how all of Robert Maxwell's family, all the family members were killed in the Holocaust. He was the only survivor. So if you want to go, try to verify the narrative given that he and his family were poor and they were in the J ghettos. Oh, look. TV showing us that they are the judges. Every single fucking time. They are the judges, they're the lawyers, they're never the criminals. The only time I've ever seen Jays be the criminals on here is when somebody attacked like the Jays Bible or whatever and destroyed. So they fought back. And the whole episode was basically about how, well, you can't do anything to them because they take everything so personally, and like I saw this cop watch video the other day, and the cop it says to the guy, well, how would you like it if somebody came up to you and started calling you names? And of course the guy doesn't respond correctly by saying, I'm not some big baby who gets offended and upset every time somebody says words. But like, that's how, he was like, well, I don't swear, so I bothers me when other people do. Like, are you what? Are you an adult? That man is given a badge and a gun. The swearing police. Like, it's just, it's like nothing that exists is what you think it is. If it's outside of your home, outside of your absolute, like, immediate control, you really have no idea what the fuck is going on. Like, it's just, here, let's let's do this. We'll try again. Pedophiles, kill yourself.